going to turn to Kristeena Monteith. Kristeena is one of 17 United Nations Young Leaders for the Sustainable Development Goals, appointed by the United Nations Secretary General's Envoy on Youth. In her home country of Jamaica, she is the lead producer of Talk Up Radio. Talk Up Radio is a public radio program tackling global social and political issues and is staffed by young people under the age of 25 years old. She's also led production for Talk Up Youth, a television show giving a voice to Jamaican youth, and written for Aki Walk Children's Puppet Show, a televised series teaching children their rights as enshrined in the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. Kristeena, you produce a public radio program tackling global social and political issues, and have produced other media with an aim of empowering children and youth and developing and supporting solutions to social issues in Jamaica and globally. In your experience, how can education help children and youth reach their rights and address such social issues? Kristeena, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for this platform. My name is Kristeena, as previously mentioned. I'm Jamaican, a postgraduate student, a media for development specialist, focusing on civic media, and a United Nations Young Leader for the Sustainable Development Goals. I'm about to share some insights from my experience. If you work closely with young people for long enough, you notice some common concerns. Young people are concerned about the future. Will we be able to have decent jobs or fresh air to breathe? Will we be able to live without the threat of violence and war? Many of us are also critical of the lack of representation of the youth voice on these and other defining issues at influential decision-making levels. We believe we have a part to play beyond sharing our experiences. We have insights that, if taken seriously, can be used to improve society. So how do we address these issues? How do we meaningfully engage the youth voice in sustainable ways that can change the future for the better and make real progress in human rights and other major issues like climate change? At Talk Up Radio, we've been experimenting with this problem. Firstly, our radio show is designed to be a soft transition for high school students who are interested in media to figure out if they want a career in media. They learn the production process and gain confidence in their abilities to contribute to a viable product. Secondly, with the content of our programs, we challenge their points of view, encouraging them to think about the issues they are affected by and those affecting other young people, from their peers to young people from countries they've never heard of. Thirdly, our platform is open to young people from all backgrounds because we believe they should all have the opportunity to experience civic media. In our experience, these young people are then able to take their concerns for the future and their renewed belief in their own voice and civic agency to build solutions. From Kevon Ellis, a young man from a volatile community in Kingston who created the Inner City Youth Development Association and now uses sports to unite communities and create opportunities that encourage children to focus on education instead of the quick money of violence. Or Chelsea Wright, who created Girls Who Know, an organization promoting sexual and reproductive health information while advocating for SRH rights. Or Najib Spence, uniting young Jamaicans through the power of reggae music. Or they get involved in advocacy, like Dana Lynn Swaby, or a resident climate activist who recently won a green ticket to attend the Youth Climate Summit. The problem of human rights is a massive one, and so it requires massive solutions that result in systemic change. We already know that education is one of our major resources in empowering young people. Young people spend most of their lives in school, and we know that statistically, education absolutely transforms lives, whether it's the benefits an educated mother brings to her children, or the benefits a country enjoys when its government invests in education. But we're not just talking about math, English, sciences, arts, and tech. How we view, design, and access education must reflect the scale of the problem we're trying to solve. And we can achieve this. We've already updated STEM education for the digital future we're building. We need to take that kind of active design process to building education resources that prepare young people for the problems of the future. and the problems of now. We have a climate crisis, civic apathy, a media-fueled trust deficit, health epidemics, wars, famine. We're dealing with loneliness, economic shocks, and we foresee more of this uncertainty for the future. Education systems, from academia to the informal spaces in which young people acquire knowledge, skills, and experience, such as talk-up radio, must be designed with the goal of protecting and improving humanity through, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, building intelligence and character. We have to create opportunities for young people to build resilience, verve, a global awareness of their own agency within society and the impact of their actions and words. If we want them to vote and protest and get involved civically, then we need to build mechanisms for their active participation into their education as a means of practicing citizenship. And finally, we must continue to endeavor to open doors, engaging the most vulnerable and those left behind. Imagine what we could achieve if every child had access to an education deliberately designed for them and their future. Imagine if the kind of investment in math that took Americans to the moon and physics and chemistry that propels CERN was taken to the study of history so that we could learn from the mistakes of our forefathers, or literature so that we could better understand humankind, and civics so that we could learn to live together and work together with dignity and justice for all. The time is now, and there's not a moment to spare. Even as those of us who believe in and work for human rights, equality, the SDGs, continue to do this hard work, there are people actively working against us. People who do not believe in the UN, who have no vision of a future that includes reduced inequalities, women in leadership, or empowered minorities. And the future includes us all, so we're going to have to learn to build partnerships, inspire and change hearts and minds. We're going to have to learn to make friends and talk to people we disagree with in ways that empower them to take the scary path towards change. For that, we need communication skills, storytelling, organizing, and conflict resolution. If education is going to continue to play a key role in who we are as a human race, then it must be human-centered as opposed to economically centered, research-driven, more flexible, and brave in the face of these and emerging challenges that young people are inheriting. Talk-up radio is one of many examples that proves that engaging young people is a worthwhile and a necessary undertaking that will take us into the future that we're all trying to build. But it's also an example that young people are not simply afraid of the future and angry that we're not included. We are building it better, and we're prepared to work for change. We're inviting you, activists, policymakers, academics, and educators to play your part in preparing the youth to advance the welfare of the entire human race. Come make we do it, or let's get it done.